All right, this had the fan base of a former front office executive. The reason why the Bulls even dominated around the 90s had their own widowed wife crying in the middle of the arena after booing her late husband over in the middle of the floor. There has been a front office trade in the Chicago Bulls since 2021 that involved Nikola Vucevic. They haven't gotten over 50 wins since Derrick Rose was literally their league MVP. That was literally three different presidents since there has been any relevance involving Chicago Bulls being a contending team. Currently, Lonzo's been an IR for damn near half a decade. Zach Levine's been an overly productive shot chucking scorer that's now in season-ending surgery. Caruso's been the only consistent defending guard that somehow they haven't even dreamed of trying to trade for some future assets. Like Chicago, like OKC in a Chicago trade should already pulled over for a first round pick, knowing Billy Donovan's even past relations with the Thunder. And Andre Drummond's still under contract. All you have is a bunch of bare minimal young rotation players that can barely last 20 minutes in a real NBA game. I'd assume Moo's okay. Kobe White's been your only preconceived notion of any future in the league. They're possibly going to be a bare minimum 11th seed franchise. As we speak, the Chicago Bulls should have done a trade. They have Trevon Carter, Alex Caruso, and Nikola Vucevic that should have been in multi-trade trades that, for the bare minimum, have some value to push over for a contending team, knowing, I still don't understand why the Bulls franchise is trying to play it so safe. And I'm not saying this like they could trade for a superstar value. Lonzo's still injured, and they still got to compensate over Levine's contract, knowing that it's probably going to expire around the next couple seasons. And Andre Drummond could be over in a buyout clause around finding a backup center. So it wouldn't surprise anybody if he gets bought out off waivers to a real contending team that needs a rebounding big that could start around the 5. And knowing any type of potential conversations that the Bulls even have of even trying to push over for the lottery, they're literally in the same conversation as the Charlotte Hornets. They're not too good to build up for anything, but they're not too bad to even fight for a first round pick. Currently, the Hornets are absolute god awful. The Bulls are the bare minimum competitive, but they're garbage. They have players eating cap that are barely going to be over for the long run, like Levine. Lonzo Ball is unlikely $1 million off his freaking healthcare. Kobe White is gonna probably resign, going over $35 million. That's probably gonna be boosted up to a possible $90 million. Patrick Williams should be gone. I'd assume Javon Carter's possibly gonna be traded away. Dalen Terry, we know Torrey Craig's an absolute waste of space. And Terry Taylor, there's barely any type of compensation clause to even keep over in the long term, especially DeMar DeRozan. He's been outstanding, still one of the best wing scorers, but just trying to be any type of other than just being the leader of the locker room, being the older player on the team. All they are is just a minimum 12, 11 seed basketball team over expiring deals that they obviously have no long-term investment in for a minimal play-in contender. So I'm just conflicted, and the front office is being like we're trying to battle out of mediocrity. You guys been the antithesis of mediocrity since the Jimmy Butler, Derrick Rose era ended, and you came around off a desperation signing to get frickin' Dwayne Wade. You think a franchise that had one of the greatest basketball players in the game would be more of an attractive spot to hold the mantle to and be one of the more iconic Eastern Conference franchises. They have an attractive city. They have an attractive franchise with an attractive pedigree. And the most they can do is do the bare minimum to exceed any type of compensation. The Chicago Bulls refuse to take a step back. Even the Pistons knew why they're even trying to maybe we should change up the thing, change up the scenery, know what guys are not producing, and work on it. We know how much the Wizards suck. Even the Wizards made some moves and got rid of some guys with some minimal value for certain teams so they can get picks. They at least compensated. Daniel Gafford went for a first-round pick. Jordan Poole's trade value is exceedingly going to go down. The only person that I expected that didn't leave was Kyle Kuzma, that I expected to go to the Mavericks. But but the front court was more of a concern for the Mavericks defensively. And all they now have is just possibly exceeding contract buyouts and not even having a future in hand, knowing that they won't even be pushing over a lottery pick, is absolutely embarrassing. Bulls are like the definition of mediocre in the NBA, next to the Charlotte Hornets. It's depressing. Next to the Washington Wizards. Next to the Detroit Pistons, when the Pistons used to actually be a notable franchise that got some respect around the league. And now there's teams that are higher around you that even have a smaller market value in franchises like the Sacramento Kings, like the Indiana Pacers, that are actually being ambitious enough to say they got the talent. We're trying to push through and drive over with our front office to actually build around the stars that we have in place. And the guys that we don't have in place, we could push over for marginal value like they did with Buddy Hield with the Indiana Pacers. And the Pacers are still a great team. So I'm a bit questioning the judgment over in the front office. Why Billy Donovan is even still coaching on the Chicago Bulls is already questioning me, because I told people publicly that I don't think he's a great NBA coach for teams like the Bulls. And still just having Zach LaVine just locked up under contract, and I understand he has season-ending injury, so just keeping him over the remainder until May would be kind of a waste, knowing that you're not going to see him produce for the next 4 to 5 months. So that's a bit under question. But my God, what are the Bulls going to do? That's my question. Do you feel like the Bulls just fumbled the bag around the trade deadline? Do you feel like they should just wait until the summer? That's it for me. I'm going to end it right here.